Welcome everybody, welcome to another Kerfuffle showcase. Here today with the resplendent in pink, Jamie Parks. Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Mr. Simon, how are you, mate?
Mr. Simon, I like that. That makes me fun. And it makes, last time I was called, that was in Bangkok, and that story will not be repeated.
That was me.
What I like there, we said it off camera, isn't it? You can see the old dull, washed out Simon Whale with his vague pink hair, and the new vibrant merch on the other side of things. That's beautiful.
Shit, I'll keep it this colour. Oh, and the hat, it's all here, mate. I love it.
That sort of stuff's the reason why we're not predicted to be profitable for another 3 years. But anyway, don't feel bad. Jamie, I was going to describe you as the legendary Jamie Parks, and apart from how I know you as legendary from obviously the many events we've met at, just give us a bit of background for those people that don't know your good self, where you've come from, and then we're going to talk today about Muuvo, which is a really exciting proposition, but I'll let you do the groundwork on that one. So just give us a bit of your background, Jamie.
Yeah, so going way back and how I got myself into the letting agent / estate agents space was working for a comparison site, very small one, like a little U-switch. So it was working with a handful of energy suppliers, a handful of broadband providers, and it was my job to feed these guys leads. So whether it be insurance companies or loan applications, anywhere that had names and numbers of people that probably needed to save some dosh on their energy or even their broadband. So I was there for a good 6 years, from blimey, like 2005 all the way up to 2008, the recession.
Yeah.
Where I stumbled, so I was out collecting data as I did with my rucksack and whatnot, walking the streets, and I stumbled across the letting agents. And their data ended up being really good because it's kind of people that are going to new places that need new things. So we focused a lot more on that specific data. Don't worry about the loan applications. Don't worry about the insurance brokers now. Let's focus on the letting agents, because the tenants want calls, which is a little bit unheard of in relation to sales and stuff. That they're looking for help. They want to speak to you. So I developed a business around those leads to make sure we shared some commission back with the agents when we did the sales for the tenants. Now, it wasn't until the idea was given to me by a letting agent in Bournemouth, where I said, give us your numbers, I'll give you 5 quid back and all that stuff. It wasn't a lot, it was never getting rich. And she said to me that I'd be better off keeping my fiver if you could just do a little bit of work for me or something. Like she mentioned, let the councils know the tenants moved in, let the water companies know, do a little bit of admin, keep you £5, they get rich quicker.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet though, but it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So I upgraded from a fax machine where I was receiving leads to some software, which was again IT and stuff, and I'm still the same now. Not really my forte, but other people have helped me with it. And I then founded a business. And a business called Tenant Shop. Some people may know them. I've already forgotten about them. Yeah. But I was there for, from start to finish, 13 years. So I started with a head of hair, finished with none. And now, as of January this year, put together Muuvo, which is a bit of a bigger proposition in relation to who can work for. So the Tenant Shop was very much down the tenants, and it's done great for it. Won lots of awards. But now I'm looking at anyone that's moving, HMOs, buyers, tenants, commercial lets, bringing back the free. Everyone loves free, and also
old freemium model. That's a isn't it?
And letting agents and the estate agents love the free part anyway. And the other difference is, so we're bringing back what the letting agents liked, which I've got a notebook as big as the Bible from all my time talking to them, and we've also got some clever integrations now that actually feeds them back information like the current energy supplier, the meter serial numbers, whether it's a smart meter, prepaid. We used to ask them all for that. Could you do this for us? If we said it saved time, it done a good job, but it did add time. Now we're actually giving most of the information back to them to say, there's the information, and we'll go off and do the rest. So it's a more user-friendly, simpler solution. That again, it helps on the cost front because there's no fee involved.
That makes sense, and hence obviously the fantastic name Muuvo does what it says on the tin, as you said, appeals to all people in the process there as well, and hence why after that your background there, that when we asked you for your preferred title, you said an old dog with a new toy, which I love there. Anyone who self-deprecates the crap out of it like that is worth it in my book.
Anything else? I mean, that is what I am and what it is, I suppose, is honestly the best policy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's just talk about it. Obviously, there are other providers in this field there. Just talk to you've elucidated a couple of them, but are there other? What are the other main differences between Muuvo and those other businesses in this sector?
So the key part is the types of moves we can work with. Because when you look at the HMOs, for example,
yeah,
you don't actually talk to the mover about the bills there in general. It's either the landlord or sometimes the letting agent if they're nice and they pay on behalf of the landlord. So it's a sort of a flip round of who we talk to and where the opt-ins come from and stuff. But still, if the agent wants to make sure that there's a service delivered to the landlord via the HMOs, and there's a lot of them out there. I mean, over the years, we just couldn't work out how we do it smoothly with the system that we had. So it has its own part, and it isn't the same as the rest. So it's been individually bespokely built. Home buyers, they're quite easy, to be fair. That's just the lead about it. So, but they all want what drives us, which is getting online and stuff. So again, the main points are what isn't in the industry with others is with it being free. I think everyone else has put little tags on it at the minute for cost, whether it's not lots, but it's a bill that I don't think should be there. And it also gives the movers the ability to switch online now. So not just by visiting a white label website, we've developed a one place for all dashboard for a mover to go if they don't want to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
We do it on our smartphones. It's all done for the mobile. And the other thing is it's all pre-populated. So as opposed to you having to go, Simon, well, moving into Buckingham Palace, this is my it's all pre-populated. We've got all that because when we pull the information before for the agent, we use the same information to do the energy switching and the broadband stuff. So all the tenants are doing is clicking, confirming and completing without having to actually fill out the form. So it's kind of like putting an application in front of you that's already filled out with, do you want to save the money or not, yes or no? And people don't mind clicking, filling out forms. They'll do it later / forget about it and end up having a big bill. And of course, the energy, everyone needs a little bit of help and advice with energy at the minute because it's all over the shop. So it's going to be expensive, actually, whatever way you do it, but there's going to be a cheaper one of the bunch or a better one of the bunch. I suppose now you've got to look at who's reputable, who's safe, because it's all well and good saving a penny there with such and such. It could probably fall off now.
I was watching Mar on Sunday when he was asking one of the energy companies, and he was putting them on the spot, just saying which of the companies, how many of them do you think are going to make it through this Christmas time? And it was fairly staggering to hear him just have that line of questioning. Amazing.
It's going against what the market was deregulated and introduced lots of little ones to be cheap. Now, when you look at it, they're not safe to go with because they're falling off. You're now looking at what do the books of British Gas look like, Scottish Power look like?
Yeah,
around them for a year, whether it be a tight one or whatever. But I'm sure it'll set on things that come back again and other suppliers are coming into the market. But to be fair, there was also quite a lot, so maybe it did need a little bit of a kind of a declutter. Yeah, I think so. It's still a good handful there.
And that's quite interesting what you were saying there about the self-service element, because I know a lot of suppliers and indeed agents themselves get very frustrated that the great British public today just don't seem to, we've all got these kind of phones that do everything, but that they're using it less and less on a daily basis as a phone. And there is a growing proportion of people who just want to, whether that means using the online chat or just do the self-service there, they don't want to be bothered, do they?
No, you're right. No, that's again I haven't got stats at the moment because it's a concept. It's not a new concept. It is in this little area. But also what we've done, because we do the council and the water and the energy for the tenants, we've already they've got a checklist of like 6 things to do. 3 of them are already done for them. So the marketing is very much your council, your water, your energy done. Nip in here now and set up your broadband. And when you talk to them about broadband, that's something they want and need and don't want to wait for. So that's your kind of carrot and your hook. And when you're online with broadband and TV deals these days, they're giving away £100 vouchers, £120 vouchers. It's good stuff. So if the consumer knows that it's easy and it's sometimes or most of the time there's better deals online, and we've already pre-populated stuff for you. It's just in your dashboard waiting to click.
Why would you not?
It's marketing, yeah. Otherwise, if you just send somebody, go to uswitch/Muuvo and fill out, you think they're just not going to do it. They may just do it somewhere else to spite you. But if you've got, it's all there. You know, just check.
You've looked at this real world, you know, rather than throw your hands in the air and despair that people are like that. You just said, look, this is the way it is. Let's create a model around that to be able to reflect the way people are actually engaging with businesses.
Exactly, but also cater for the ones that still don't want to go that way. So we do have a team of advisors that will talk to them still, and that number is in the portal. If you still want to talk to somebody, or you want extra advice, or some people just like to talk, right? It's in my eyes, it should be 70-30 in favour of online, I think. And if those numbers are right, also what I need to do is prove the point of a lot of similar businesses. Online conversions are terrible because it's all down the hole. Mass email, click here to do this. That bit doesn't work. That is 1%. If you're specific, that's the ocean. If you're specific to what you're doing, and you're in the journey of the tenant between that referencing accepted and moving in date, you're a big deal because you've done stuff for them. You're helping them out. You know, they don't want to usually talk to you, look at your website or dashboard. No dramas, but that's going to be the minority because they're in that bubble. Once their references are accepted and before they move in, because then it gets stressful, they're happy. You want to be giving them good content then to go, you know, you're in for a treat once you get yourself over here.
So you're not positioning yourself as some evangelist, you know, as sometimes these people do, coming in and saying, we're disruptors, we're only doing it online. You're saying, look, we're just dealing with both sides of the equation.
Catering for more, I suppose, would be a good title. It's kind of like offline, online, the types of Muuvo. There isn't anybody in the little space that I operate in that we would look away from, because there's a solution for everybody.
Yeah, omni-channel is the really wanky phrase I think that people talk about.
Sometimes to see exactly what it meant, but yeah, you're right. That's the type of thing, yeah.
Okay, cool. So you mentioned there that obviously that it's free, which is absolutely fantastic, and everything else there. That was obviously something that people were demanding again because it had been taken out largely out of the sector there. Just again, give us your reasoning around that. I mean, it's a fairly obvious one, but is it literally you just believe that that is where things need to be these days?
Yeah. See, the reason you give the service and the software away for free is because you get rewarded with that lead, right? It's as I mentioned right at the beginning of this, that lead is a great lead because people are moving and they need stuff. So the business model is find some lovely leads to convert and share the cash with. You know, by adding it, because it was free at one point and then wasn't. It's not a good message, and it wasn't my message, by the way. But it was, in my eyes, it shouldn't have gone that way. And obviously, selling myself to the devil and not being left with much of a say, I didn't have much choice. So the whiteboard that I've got over there has been heavily worked on over the last year. And the first thing on is get it back to being
start from that position. Yeah, great. So I mean, obviously, there's, you know, in the past, certainly there could be quite a few issues with the, you know, council and utility billing and things like that. Are you able to offer support on those sides of things if those don't come up, or are they left to themselves?
So long as they put it on in good times, like if someone puts something on that who moved in 6 months ago and they're trying to wing it, then they may get a call. But in general, because we're now getting fed information from the national databases, the chance of things being wrong are a lot smaller.
Okay, that's cool.
It's kind of like, I think it's with British Gas, or I think it's there, or I think that's the MPAN number, and they would go around the world before they got to the right place. Time would turn over, the landlord would get a bill in that time, and so, you know, that is still there. And the long and short is that support is also still there, including free costs. But from my point of view, because we're actually gathering the info now for them and working with it, as opposed to saying, give us all the info and we'll work with it. We're now calling on people that know more than us about what that meter number is and if it's a smart meter within a single API call or a double API call. But you know, as soon as you go to property, it tells you all the stuff that you need to know, even the UPRN, which I think is now quite a popular number.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so yeah, the support is still there, but I expect to be less worked on that front because of where we're getting the information from.
Right, Jamie, I'm wise to you. So this is where I turn into my property packsman now. So it's free, but you know, what's the minimum term, Jamie? Are you tied in for like 48 months or something like that. What's the hook?
That's like a marriage, though, isn't it? If I'm staying on too long or whatever, but there isn't. You know, it's one of those. It's their data. They can, if it doesn't work for them for whatever reason, even if they don't like me, it's they can leave. You know, you shouldn't be tying people into where they put their data. In my eyes, it's theirs. You know, I'm just an add-on, a little add-on to something that they're doing great. So the longest
add-on, not a strap-on, just to be clear there. Just to. I love that, Jamie, because I mean, ultimately, you can have loads of people talk the talk, can't you, in terms of it, but you know, they try to lock clients in, but it says a lot about, especially a new business. It says, look, guys, it's free of charge. There's no tie in here. I mean, I hate that phrase, no brainer, but why would you not feel you could give this a go?
Well, that's it. People will have a look. They'll go, oh, we'll have a look then, because there's no harm done or cost or whatever. And again, it's like driving a nice car or sitting in your nice car before you. Oh, that does feel nice.
I don't know, mate. I drove a hairdresser's Evoque, so I wouldn't know about the nice cars. So.
But yeah, it's getting to have a look. If you say it's 50 quid to sign up, it's this, that, or whatever. It's kind of like they don't even look at it a second time because it's not something that they want to. Because the first thing you think of is losing that 50 quid, right?
Exactly right. Well, I was thinking as you were going through recapping there at the beginning there, we've got sliding doors moments. I think I was probably at Repeat for about 13 years as well. So it's like sort of Batman and Superman in different sectors. But obviously looking at my old mob in terms of the CRMs, that's where a lot of, agents perceive that they need to have integrations with the third parties that they're doing. So what's your approach to working with other businesses? Are you actively engaging integrations? Have you got any integrations at the moment? I'm assuming it's standalone anyway, but can it cope quite happily outside of integration? Just update us what your approach is on that front.
One of the positives that came out of the previous firm was the integrations, and again the ease of onboarding then, because again agents and myself, we like the easy life. It's in there, and if it's just a button, they'll give it a go, they'll do it. You know, it's pretty as your platform can look. The agents don't really need another portal at the minute or somewhere to log in. Isn't it roughly 11 or 12 something that they could have if they haven't got an all for one thingy? There's a lot in there.
There's 20 on average across our client base of almost 3,000 agents. They have 20 different sales and lettings providers. That's ignoring all your standard office things like telephones and everything else. So 20 different suppliers is fairly staggering, isn't it, in terms of.
They do, and as easy it is and as simple it is another one. So the good thing, so we built a two-way API. So I'm learning as I'm talking here, because this is how it's been. We can come and take the data out of their CRM with their permission and load it into Muuvo, or the CRM can send it into Muuvo. It's been built with two APIs, so it can go both ways. And also, the other key thing is here, see that funky information that I said I caught from all of the databases and stuff, we can feed that back to the CRM. That makes them look a little bit more,
Yeah, that does. I mean, I would, in my mind, I always said is, where these CRMs are going now, as they all start to open up, I wouldn't be actually demonstrating the CRM. I'd be going in, and if they were a Muuvo customer or thinking about it, I'll be demonstrating that wonderful two-way integration, because that's what the agents are absolutely after, aren't they? That I don't want single sign-in or whatever they call it. It's just the key point about it. It's not like integration, as you rightly highlighted there in the old days, was just spaff out a load of data into something and then happen it. Where the real magic happens is where it's coming back and forth.
Coming to value, yeah. If I say to them, I want to be integrated, I'll give you a small commission or a hug for everyone you give me. But if you're now saying, you see this pool of info here, I've got the UPR and this meter serial number, I'll share that with you, to make, so long as we've got the right privacy policies in place and it's used properly and all that jazz, which is easy enough. But I then become a value to them to say that, oh yeah, we've got the MPAN because we're with them. Without that API, without that partnership, that box is blank. I mean, they could go and integrate directly with it's not easy, but with the suppliers directly, but it's costly. It costs a fair few bob a year to be with those guys. And it makes more sense just to piggyback what I'm doing. Because it's the letting agents or even the estate agents, if we can give them the information too, they don't want to be looking at that or going to another place to just look up that who the supplier is and whatnot.
No, you're the specialist at the end of the day, aren't you? That's what people, where you need to do the step with. So, are there any that you can talk about at the moment, or are you still just?
So with the Agent OS, our good friends over there, they've got
Okay, good luck. Yeah, brilliant.
You should be finding all those ones really, because that's kind of them saying this is how you come and get the data as long as you've got the permission. So at the minute, it's from the wishes of the small agents that I'm taking on. Who's your CRM? So as opposed to just going for the big gun straight from the top and wanting to get out, I want to make sure that the 2 or 3 office up the road that's given me a go, that I go and sort them out first and stuff.
So many businesses, Jamie, go down the approach of the field of dreams. Build it and they will come. They go straight for the biggest ones, and actually the right thing is to do is just go with the people that are engaging, because again, that's where you're going to get most of your business from in the early days anyway, isn't it?
If you need that little bit of help to say that they're not really picking up the phone to me at the minute, Mr. Agents, give them a nudge or something. You're a important customer today.
Look, the Agent OS guys, they're fantastic. So obviously have a chat with those guys. If you're an Agent OS client, find out what Muuvo can do for you. And obviously just keep us updated, Jamie, as to all those other partnerships as they come on board. We'll happily shout about those. You know, I like to be my Cilla Black and do the old blind date routine. So any supplier relationships that happen, I want to be all over, so to speak.
I think so. As and when they're finished, I'll send them over. So yeah.
Good. And again, just for everyone looking, do make sure you have a look on anyone's landing page. There is a little tab down there for integration. So just make sure you can go in there and see which parties you might already have in your tech stack, so you can understand who works with you. So that makes sense. Okay, Jamie, just talk about sort of some of the nuts and bolts in terms of the detail of being paid out. Is commission only paid out for new customer sales?
No, not anymore. No, that's a good point. So with the energy, and if they do it online, they are presented 30 days before their tariffs are coming to an end with a very easy kind of, this tariff's finishing. Here's the next cheapest one. Yeah. Yes or no, and then that's done, because we already hold everything. We've done the switch before, so long as everything's still the same, so they'd have to confirm somewhere that are you still at the same place. Then there's a one switch click renewal, which we again share back with the agent, which never happened before either. I think we had to go at calling back round people that we switched a year ago. It doesn't quite work the same. If someone's getting a ping on their phone saying your tariff's going to end in 30 days and effectively cost you more, because that's when your tariffs finish, you do go on a click this one or have a look to do some more. So the long and short is, the renewal for energy is there. Medium, not so. They don't like to pay renewals there because they pay quite well up front. So they tell me
horses for courses. Basically, whatever you can get, you're going to try and you'll get that.
Any movement and new product from the channels from the data that they've introduced will be shared back to them.
Okay. And just about new products there, Jamie, can like new movers speak to someone about those new products? Let's say they might just need some extra help.
Yeah, so the offline, we've got the offline call center. So if they're looking, if they've got the results in front of them and it isn't just a case of going for the cheapest or the greenest, or they want to ask questions, they can always go through to the call center. Yeah, speak to them. We've got 5 or 6 trained guys there at the minute. I used to have 50 back in the day, but it was 100%. It was outbound, so you needed the 50. So now the team will grow or even shrink, depending on how much they're needed. You see, but the thing is, the good thing about it is we can turn the tap on there. The organisation we're working with are a big old bunch, and so yeah, the answer to that is of course.
So I'm going to keep digging for this catch that I'm looking for. What's the catch here? So obviously it's free. There's no tie-in period. So I guess it takes months to get set up. Is that right? Or give us an idea. How does somebody get onboarded? How long does it take?
About 5 to 6 minutes, really. We've got. It depends on me actually, but with being an unorganized as I am, if it takes me ages just to pump your address details into the system, it could take up 6 months.
So it's basically Jamie Parks doing the Caesar yes or no,
yeah, something like that, and the agreements say an 8-page DocuSign or something, so it's their time in reading that. It's all very simple, as it always was before. It doesn't take long to set up at all. It's just getting the agents going. Back in the day, I used to call them old motorbikes because they'd all go, yeah, let's do it. They set up, but it takes a long time to Once they do, then it's great. As soon as it becomes a part of their routine, Because it is, utilities naturally sits in there, and it's the bit they're like, ugh, they don't make money out of it, or in general they don't. It's just there to make sure you either leave it to the tenant, and 90% of the time you'll be fine, and they're all great and they're all lovely. But they're 10% that don't register, move out after 6 months, leave a bill. It's like, ugh, yuck. And then the landlord gets that, and then it goes to court, and then all that jazz. So it's just a horrible bit.
That's a really good point. That there's a lot of services out there, and some of those are those free ones where, you know, I know that the principle of the business shakes their head because they can't understand why they aren't getting greater penetration, greater conversions. Is there anything you can advise the agents to help them, you know, get their teams in the best place to promote this sort of stuff? Any advice on that?
Yeah, well, it all comes from the original notifications to the council, the water, and the current energy suppliers. Not many people, if any, will talk to the current suppliers because they're interested in switching, which we are too. But you're missing out a bit there if you're not sort of letting them know that there's somebody moving in. So what you want to do is make that as part of your contract mandatory, that we will be telling the council the water and the energy that you're moving in, right? And we do use these guys. Don't treat that as an opt-in, because that's the bit that gets you out of trouble. They will have to opt in somewhere to say, do you want to talk to them about new product?
Yeah.
And they'll say, nah. And we'll take that on the chin, but it's not like we're not going to do them registrations, because the system does that automatically anyway. That's all built in for it. So the trick is, it's not really a trick, it's make that part of your terms, this is what happens when you move in and when you move out. We tell the councils and utility suppliers, because it's not a choice. Your choice to talk to me about new products and whatnot, that is your choice. So that's where we'll then seek to get the separate opt-ins, whether it's on a referencing journey, a CRM journey, a manual form or whatever. So the long and short is we won't not do any work for the agent because that tenant or mover didn't opt in. We'll work for it all.
Okay.
That's the key.
I suppose I'm interested to understand as well. So, if you look at obviously somebody who's not doing this at the moment or has dabbled with it, are you able to put any pounds, shillings on pence on what they could potentially earn? You know, are there any metrics around what an average firm could earn per year? Or how do people kind of work this into a business plan?
Well, the first thing to do is to not count the pennies that they get from the commission, because that bit isn't much really. Yeah. You know, a few beers in a swanky bar like yours there. But it's something that can help towards Christmas dues, and it's not huge. That's not the selling point. That this service is me going to them saying, right, let's both of us get rich. Yeah. The part that is key is the actual system, the information you're getting, and that service of, if there's a problem, send it down the wing to Jamie and co, who'll look after it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So depending on the size of your business, it's kind of like if you're doing 500 lets a month, that could be 2 full-time employees. Yeah. So whatever the minimum wage is these days, that could be, what's that, 50k or whatever, mate. I don't know what the.
You're like a politician that's been asked how much is a pint of milk. 27 pounds.
Per hour or whatever. But yeah, but see it as staff you don't need to use. Certainly not get rid of the ones that are there. Make them more proactive. But take that bit off your bill or whatever. Or if you're using somebody that's doing a job that but it's costing you. Yeah. James, get rid of that cost and
either cut the cost or make them more productive, isn't it? More proactive. That's what it's about.
Yeah. The commission bit is just a nice. Sometimes they give that straight back. And still like that, and I still accept that. But yeah, sometimes they used to not care about the commission, just say keep hold of it, thanks.
A growing number of people want the best service, don't they? And understandably so, so that there's no distraction and anything else. And you mentioned there some of the larger firms and everything else there, Jamie. I know one of the frustrations some businesses with multiple offices is that they cater very well for single office systems, as it were, but they don't have the ability to cater particularly well for bigger businesses. Have you thought about that from the beginning, or is that going to be an enhancement down the road? What's your thinking there?
The system has been built to host a head office with multiple branches, and again, it's just more weight in relation to scale on the server and all that stuff, which updates itself. We use the Amazon Web Service, so all that stuff it grows in cost as people use it and stuff. So in relation to Can we help them out? Yes, we can. It's just the numbers. We will make the changes to the headcount this end in relation to what we think the traffic will be. I mean, the sales side of thing is, I mean, it's not really affected. The call center can be switched on and off with 5, 10 or 15, however many it may be. But the system is just there taking, and as you know, they can make thousands of API calls a second if needed. So we've stress tested the system with loading in, 300 properties per second to make sure, to see if we could break it, because it's fun to break it, because to get it fixed or not. But it's, touch wood, wherever you want to touch it, it's all, the stress testing has been fine. And even the penetration tests, it's not what you think it is, but we had a couple of those. I'm sure you do actually, but that's something I never did before and was interesting, especially the first one where I thought I was market, gave it to a specialist, and oh gosh, it wasn't ready for market.
No, it's interesting. I mean, I remember you're all right. I bluffed understanding what it was, but this is all the vital stuff about building a scalable and security-based system, isn't it? So it's look, and let's be honest, Jamie, is our paths have crossed many, many times. Not least because you were always slightly ahead of me at the awards ceremonies normally there. So what I like about it, look at that, wonderful. What I like is you've spent a lot of time thinking about this. You've got that appetite to deliver as well. So you didn't have to do all that kind of stuff. But again, it shows that you've really put your heart and soul into thinking about this, because this is obviously you're sat there in the pink, but this is very much your baby, isn't it, going forwards? And your name's going to be backing behind it.
Second baby, this is just it's just a pretty one. The other one's now a teenager and it's out doing whatever.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so let's just talk again. So as far as I can see, look, the three main takeaways as far as I can see, like, it's free, which is obviously fantastic for anyone there. You're going to have, secondly, you're going to have like loads of integrations, full lookup services, that bi-directional integration where possible as well is again a nice one set there. And again, it's a nice hybrid model so that movers set up their services online or over the phone. You don't dictate, you're just able to cater it. That's a nice triple whammy of kind of features there, isn't it, to do it? What would you say, Jamie, in terms of I made a mistake in my previous life in pretending that we were absolutely suitable and in fact best fit for all sizes of business, whether they're one office, 1,000 offices there. And actually over a period of time it changes. You might grow into the business that does it. Where do you feel your sweet spot is in terms of the sort of clients that you want to onboard at the moment? Is it genuinely just ready for all at the moment, or are you looking for a particular type of client?
I'll be honest, and I'd probably shoot myself in the foot by doing it, but it probably becomes more valuable to the smaller businesses, because that cost of somebody that would normally do that may be a big deal to their cash flow. Whatever. For the big guys that have got great lots. I mean, and I've worked with them, and it's worked great, and it still is working. The value of the work that's done for each individual branch, I think it gets diluted a little bit, sort of thing, across and hidden into all sorts of other costs. So, of course, I would prefer somebody with 500 offices, because my business is the more data, the more sales we get. But being honest, and I think the independents or the smaller businesses, I'm more of a part of their business because of the size of it. So I'd say it was better suited for them. But if any big ones there are listening, I will take one.
We'll edit that bit out. But the point is, the reason I asked that anyway is those guys tend to be so on the ball in terms of measuring the efficiencies and everything else there anyway, that you almost don't need to sell to those guys, do you, on what this can bring? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, and so let's just have a final thought about this then. So I was all ready, and I was going to get all sort of pushy and say to you, come on then, Jamie, what are you going to do for our wonderful Kerfuffle members? And then I had a bit of obviously an epiphany as you were talking, and when we were talking about it previously, that I can't really ask you to discount your fees considering you're free. It's even me, but I did come to you with a, what have you done for me lately approach. Just tell us what you're able to do for our Kerfuffle members, because I love this approach.
Yeah, so what makes sense for us, and what's better value for us is we will give an uplift of 20% to any media sale done. So media is broadband or TV and stuff. So 20% above the standard rate of commission, so they get more than the guy down the street. This is exclusive to you guys. Will remain exclusive to you guys. Energy, it barely pays for the bath water, if I'm being honest. It's just there. Everyone's got it. I've mentioned this before, but the likes of Sky and Virgin and whatnot, they're a little bit more generous with their commission, so I'm happy to give a bit more of that away to them. So
beautiful. Well, I love that. That's great. And extra earning ability for our members. Fantastic. So that's much appreciated. And all those drinks we've shared at the bar has finally paid off. So that's
wow.
That's a big win. Well, look, as I said, best of luck with it, Jamie. I know it'll be a massive success because you obviously know what you're doing, and it's a nice clean sheet as well to get started. So that's very exciting. Do obviously keep us up to date with those integrations. We'll obviously have to have a panel show with some of your clients to talk about how they're using it, the benefits they get. I think it just remains for me to say to the people watching this, depending on where you're watching it, either click on the I'm interested link at the end and we'll forward that straight through to Jamie, or you can click on on their landing page, contact me, and we'll pass on all details to him directly. So, Jamie, thanks again. Very exciting time.
Yes, it is, mate. Yeah, pleasure to be with you, mate. No problem.
Brilliant. Catch up with you soon, mate. Have a good one.
See you later.
Bye-bye.